Microsoft is going all in on carbon credits. The Wall Street Journal has one of its deals estimated to be worth $200 million. You are now tuned in to ShookFocuz. And it is time. It's time
to shake the focus up. Sick of being sick and tired. Tell me if you had enough. Yeah, it's Shook's in the building now. We ain't missing nothing. We gon' catch 'em if they got a run.
What is good, y'all? What is good? Thanks for tuning in and welcome back to another episode. And in this one, we're going to be putting a little focus on undo. Now, if you've been keeping up with the previous Dovu content, we understand that Undo had partnered with Dovu in order to sell those carbon credits on the Dovu marketplace. And that being significant because now we have the Microsoft and Undo relationship becoming stronger as well, because Microsoft has signed a follow-on carbon removal deal with enhanced rock weathering developer Undo. Now remember, it's a follow-on because they had a deal in 2023 as well, which we'll cover later on in this video. Before we get into all of that, first things first, I would like to give a shout out to the Dovu and HBAR community on this one. This was brought to my attention by Hash Me Outside. Excellent job with that name. By the way, Winky Crypto Boy as well, another dope name. Been rocking with the Focus Army for a minute, even when I don't necessarily cover Dovu. So big shout outs there, definitely appreciate it. If you are into this carbon market development in crypto space and you're not following those two accounts, you are definitely missing out. So we're gonna cruise through a couple highlights here and then take a look at Undo. As we go through this, you're gonna hear me talk a lot about carbon and metric tons, but it'll all make sense by the end. Again, this is gonna be a real quick summarization of this article. If you want it line by line, of course, I'll have the link in the description of the video. But of course, this collaboration comes behind a deal these two companies had in 2023. And in that deal, Undo committed to spreading 25,000 tons of basalt rock on farmland. So that's part of this enhanced rock weathering process that we're going to be talking about. And the goal was to collect 5,000 tons of carbon dioxide over the next 20 years. But in this new agreement, it states that Undo is committed to removing an additional 15,000 tons of CO2 from the atmosphere. The article spends a little bit of time talking about this process of enhanced rock weathering, but in short, it's just, again, it's crushed silicate rock that's being spread across this land that's used for agriculture. And this is supposed to speed up the process for storing that carbon as a solid, and it's said that it can store it for hundreds of thousands of years. So that rock is just going to, because the rock is going to take longer to break down, right, and slowing down that process. So Undo is planning to use this investment from Microsoft in order to set up some trial and monitoring sites for this in Canada. One of them is planned for a research farm that's owned by the University of Guelph, and then another at a lab in Queen's University in Kingston. So some comments from the Undo founder on this was that this agreement with Microsoft should be a clear signal to the market that enhanced rock weathering has potential to deliver scalable carbon removal, and that Undo can deliver the critical research to instill more confidence in this process and that technology. And the article also gives us a little nugget at the end that Undo was founded in Scotland and that it currently has the operations in Southeast Ontario and is planning to expand into Eastern Canada to include Ontario and Quebec. And the article didn't really give us the numbers how we wanted, but if we want to just purely make a guess from the recent deals, in that last video we saw that Amazon and a few others was able to buy at $15 a credit. Now let's get our calculator out here for this. And we'll clear that up and start over. Now, of course, those companies, they dropped a bankroll because they was combined in a group like that. And so I'm not sure if Microsoft got it quite as sweet. I don't know, but it ain't like they hurting for money anyway. You know what I'm talking about. Let's see. So the 2023 deal was for 5,000 tons. So we got 5,000 tons there. And this recent deal is for 15,000 tons. So 15,000 tons. So we'll just say 20,000. Now we know these were made at different times, but we just going with it. It's all just estimation, right? And so if we say that they got this super friendly price of $15 a credit, right, which would be $15 a ton. I'll make that make sense for you in a minute. So if we said times 15, that's an investment of $300,000. But we're talking about just undo right here. And then again, if we say they didn't get that super friendly price and we say they had to pay what, $20 a credit, right, at 20,000, now we up at, it's almost a $500,000 investment. And again, this is just talking about undo. I bumped into something else that from GeekWire that was super spicy. This was nasty. So it's, again, we're talking about Microsoft, but that deal was for a 315,000 metric tons of carbon. So what if these carbon credits are running under the same measurement? So what if we said 315,000 tons of carbon removal, and then we gave it the friendly price of $15. Now we're looking at just under 5 million. So now how much money are these companies willing to invest in this carbon removal, and is it getting your attention yet? Let's see here. And that was just one other different deal. And yeah, and I checked, sometimes a metric ton is referred to as a ton, TONNE. So we speak in the same language. And actually, we're going to bounce over to the Dovu website real quick because I just got a feeling this is going to help somebody keep with us. This one conversion to help you get through it. So come over here. We're taking a look at undo, right? It's 1 ton per credit. So everything we talked about is like a 1-for-1 with these credits in a metric ton, 1 carbon credit, 1 metric ton. That's how it's sold on here anyway. And actually, hold on, man. I'm just thinking. Everybody else got to pay like $261 for these credits. Man, what if it turns out... All right, and we have reached our shameless plug moments. Updates. Let's see what we have for updates. Well, as some of y'all know, I'm a nerd by trade, and so I have been nerding out at home, trying to make use of that skill set in my personal life. So that's where I've been with that. What else we got for platforms? Yes, platforms. Who would have thunk it? I've discovered I don't really love Telegram as a content management platform. I think it's fantastic for messaging and communications, but I don't really love the content management setup on it. So as far as the newsletters and any bonus content like that, that'll be back over on Patreon. So reorganizing all of that. So that is the platform updates. Now let's go ahead and get back to this video here, and we're gonna end this one with, I guess we're gonna call this a little oddball undo research. We're gonna take a look at undo via the people of undo. So a lot of times we can get some very interesting nuggets when we do things this way. Some very interesting nuggets, and a lot of times it's nothing extreme, but it can help build a lot of confidence and give us some pretty unique ties. So let's check it out here. We're going to start off with the CCO of Undo, Chief Commercial Officer, Mr. Ryan King. And if we scroll down here, we can see, yep, Chief Commercial Officer at Undo. And then right away, things start to get interesting because he did 7 years working for the S&P out of London. Finished as a Senior Director of Commercial Strategy. Okay. And then, wow, the co-founder of HelloFresh in the UK, which is wild. And then it looks like that's by way of this Rocket Internet this Rocket Internet company, and I took a look at Rocket Internet, and it was pretty much supposed to be a platform for entrepreneurs from what I saw. But there's also another interesting thing here in Ryan's experience. So if we keep going, we'll get down to Deputy Director of Americans Abroad. And this involved representing key voting and tax issues of Americans living abroad to Congress and the White House, which is huge because we know Dovu also had that opportunity to present to U.S. Congress. And right, we're talking about undo, now Dovu, right? So now we kind of get that circular effect again, you feel me? So let's check out one more thing that's it's not huge, but I find it very interesting here. So I was doing another search on Microsoft and undo, and I came across this post from Georgia Carroll. We'll take a look at her in a second, regarding the Climate Business and Innovation Summit for Stanford University Graduate School of Business. And if we take a look at Georgia's profile here, of course, given she went to Stanford, but then the experience, she worked for Marathon Capital as an investment banking analyst, right? And then moved into, right, you got that controlled environment foods, and then ultimately doing this internship with Undo, which is under climate. So that financial background, and then moving into this carbon space. Georgia's very smart, I'll say that. But went to Stanford. Now, something unique about that is if we pop back up here and take a look at this post, she tagged Nan Ransahoff, who was going to be doing a fireside chat at this summit. And if we take a look at Nan Ransahoff, the head of climate at Stripe, right? Some of y'all see it already, but the head of climate at Stripe, and we scroll down and take a look at Nan's experience, verify that there. An advisor and a board member for a few different companies, right? We can see, look, the Carbon Removal Alliance, carbon management at UCLA. Okay. Worked for Neuro and Uber. So, and then also went to Stanford. So we look at the base here. We got these common schools in Stanford, and moving into this digital space that we all see we're moving towards. And then something really interesting here. Look at that. Bang, Harvard. Who else got Stanford and Harvard? They just flipped around though. Our homie from SwiftCoin, Mr. Draper. So if we scroll down here, we can see, yep, Stanford University. But again, they flipped on their head. He did business at Harvard. She did business at Stanford, right? And then he did his study at Stanford, and then she did her study at Harvard for her bachelor's. But we can see that a lot of folks who are helping lead this movement into this new tech and this new economy, they're coming out of these big schools. And so it's looking like we might be able to start tagging Stanford as a key school to watch for folks that are looking into this carbon space, this clean energy space, because it seems like Stanford might have something on lock there. Also, there was a backup post very similar from Ignacio here, who also went to Stanford, regarding another announcement around Climate Week. So also tag Nan there. So very, very interesting here to start seeing how some of these random dots can be connected. But I hope the focused army was paying attention in this one. All right, and finally, of course, taking a look over here on the Dovu Twitter page, we can see that Dovu did do some work in October. An update here. This is a clip cut out from, they had this guy Alan featured on the show. He talked a lot about Web3 and Filecoin. And then more announcements from that Zealy partnership. There's actually an airdrop going on for the amps. And then there are a few other things that Dovu had mentioning here. To go along with this, there's some quests that are going to be coming out. You can complete those quests, and the top 10 contributors get to split up some Dovu. So a lot of stuff to pay attention to. I recommend coming over here and checking out the Dovu Twitter page if you ain't up on game. But that's all I got for y'all, man. Let's go ahead and end this thing with a question. Why is Microsoft going so hard on these carbon credits? And until next time, don't get shook. Stay focused. And I'm out.